Okay, so when I was researching or starting to prep for this talk, I did a lot of research and I came across a lot of stats. I have a hate-love relationship with stats. I hate the stats that are not in my favor or that of my favorite sports team. Those stats suck. But I love the stats that are like, people that read Harry Potter are nicer. And I'm like, yes, that's me. People that are from California are happier. Yes, that's me. Those stats I love. But then there are the stats that are ones I hate, but I become thankful for. I'll give you an example. I'll give you the example. A lot of women, I'm sure all of us, we know this stat. We hate this stat. We groan at this stat. It's the gender pay gap stat. Basically the one that says a woman will make less than a man at the same gig. Then when you delve into this stat a little bit more by ethnicity, my Latinas in the house, where my Latinas at? I love our efforts, but we also, on this, if this stat was a totem pole, we're right at the bottom. It sucks to be Latina with this stat. Compared to a white, non-Hispanic male, for every dollar they make, we will make even less than an Asian American woman, even less than an African American woman, than a white non-Hispanic woman, than a Native American woman. We're right there at the bottom. We make 53 cents for every white man's dollar. Wakatela. That means yuck. If that stat wasn't enough, there's this other one that I read. I'm sorry that I'm going to share this if you don't know it already, but according to the Institute of Women's Policy Research, Latinas will finally get equal wages, finally, in the year 22-24. Yay. That's like when I'm a fossil, when my daughter's a fossil. That's that can come in. Wait. I don't want to tell you what that's about to mean. But I do, before I move on, I want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm a hip-hop head. I love hip-hop. Like, it's unexplainable. I look at rappers like other people look at philosophers. Rappers have taught me more than some teachers have taught me, and take that how you will. One of my favorite rappers, his name is Mos Def, or Yasin Bey, and he has this song called Twilight Speedball, and in this song, he raps 10% condition, 90% response, survival mathematics, the number man psalm. And when I heard that, I was like, hold on, 10% condition, 90% response. It's basically 10% what happens to you, 90% what you do, but it's different when your favorite rapper says it. It became my motto. And as I've learned and as I've experienced more things in life, I've found that if that's survival mathematics, some of the best and greatest mathematicians in that field are Latinas. And I'll tell you why. Let's go back to that dumb old stat. The gender pay gap stat that often gets argued. It's like, it's just a stat. This is what I do with the stats against my sports team. It's just a stat. It's not real. It's just a number. Okay, whatever. But until you real life live it, you don't know that it's real. And I have real life lived it. So I want to give you my context with this stat. For the past decade and some change, I studied, I pursued, and I excelled in LA hip-hop radio. When I started, 2008, I was a teen mom, another subset of women that don't get too much recognition but get a lot of negative stigma and bad conditions, bad stats, perceptions of us are not the greatest. But 10% condition, 90% response is what you do with that condition. It's the fact that I did not allow that condition to be who I was, but a catapult, a motivation. My child's birth certificate was not a death certificate to my dream. And I had wanted to be in radio since I was 8. So you're not gonna stop me just because I have a child. He's gonna ride with me. And I became, like I said, a very prominent figure in LA radio. I went from interning to board hopping to overnight host to weekend host to morning show co-host to red carpet interviewer to touring the world with my favorite rap artist, J. Cole. And I did all of that while also being my own producer and editor and getting a bunch of caps on my head, right? Besides that, in radio, and I feel like in every field where you're a personality and you have an audience or a clientele, what matters is how attached and how bonded you are to your audience. I was really good at that with the LA audience. In this social media age of like Instagram followers matter and Twitter followers matter, I was killing it there too. I had more followers than even some radio stations that I worked at. And not only did I have followers, which are real, by the way, not bots, I also had a great engagement. So analytics, engagement, skill set, tick, 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 I knocked it all out. Now there came a time recently where I got called on to be on a radio station in Los Angeles, and the pay was more than I had ever received in my career. It was amazing. I was hype until, and maybe this is why we don't do this, until I shared what I got paid with my male co-host. Then I saw how laughable what I was getting. He was making double what I was making, doing the same amount of work. He's a great on-air personality too. And so then I saw it firsthand, like, oh man, this is the stat in real time. And maybe it had to be like, okay, I should have negotiated more, dumb me. Like, I even had my boss tell me, Letty, you are severely underpaid. What? Even you? Okay, I'm gonna just take it on the chin. When it comes time to renegotiate my contract, I'm gonna ask for more. My boss is telling me I deserve more. My co-host is telling me, like, look, I'm getting paid double what you are. We're doing the same job. I even had a weekender. I was full-time. A part-time weekender dude was like, I get paid more than you, and I'm not even on half the time you are. So I'm hearing this, contract renewal time, I'm going in, and I'm getting my raise. And my boss, when we're negotiating, says, you know what, Letty, you should just be happy to be here. I'm gonna keep you at this same rate because you haven't done this right, or you didn't. They'll find a reason why you deserve the rate, even though they've told you this whole time you deserve so much more. And then it makes you almost feel bad, like, for asking. How dare you feel entitled to your worth, right? Okay, so 10% condition, 90% response. What was my response gonna be? Was I gonna stay at my dream job but feel less than half valued as my co-host? I'll get the argument that if that's your dream, why do you care about payment? But it's not the payment, it's the principle that hurts. It hurts all of us. But it's the payment that will be why we're written off, why we're like, our argument's invalid. However, when we stay in these situations, it's kind of like a toxic relationship. It does more bad than it does good because you start looking at yourself different. You start treating others different. You become difficult to work with. They'll find a reason why you don't deserve that position anymore. And I just could not do that. Something about my stubborn Mexican side that's just like, no, we're not gonna put up with this, okay? So my response was I left. I left for a gig that paid me double and a half what I was getting paid there. Before I moved on to do this independently. Currently, I have my own podcast, my own merch line. I'm setting up a new syndicated radio show so that the next time I go into radio, it's not as an employee, it's as a partner. 10% condition, 90% response. Survival mathematics. What I also learned while I was doing research for this TED Talk, and this is one of the stats I love, is that I'm not alone in this. Is that Latinas are facing this type of a condition and their response is the same as mine. According to a Stanford graduate business study, Latina-owned firms grew from 2007 to 2015 by 87%, eclipsing even that of any other women-owned firm. And these firms often are individual Latinas, self-employed, or running family businesses. What that stat showed me wasn't just that I was not alone, wasn't just that we're all doing this together, but what this stat showed me is that another woman who may be in that same crossroads of, should I stay and feel bad inside and feel unworthy inside, or should I leave and feel whole? It showed me they can. It showed me you should. It showed me if you feel it, please take that step. Take that step because, well, J. Cole has a line, and he says, it's really simple. What's the cost to live your dream? Do you feel me? I feel you. Because I know we hear the blood, sweat, and tears. We know that we're supposed to sacrifice time, sacrifice money, sacrifice gas in LA. But no one ever told us about sacrificing integrity, sacrificing morality, sacrificing principle. And it's that is too pricey when we are in these situations. And so for that, I ask and I encourage anyone, not just Latinas, but anyone to choose yourself and choose your wholeness. But beyond all that, I do want to shift to our upcoming presidential election year, 2020. And another stat that I'm like, oh, yes. Okay, so in 2020, Latinos will be the largest minority group eligible to vote. And of those Hispanics, the Hispanic electorate is going to be led by Latinas. It's going to be us who will show up more, as history will repeat itself. In 2016, we showed up 35% versus the Latino men at 30%. And with our group being so targeted, it is such an important time for us to show up. Telemundo had a report recently, and they said the most powerful person in America is the Latina consumer, the Latina businesswoman, and the Latina voter. Latinas are unstoppable when they know their value. The problem is, a lot of us aren't told our value. So that's what my TED Talk is about. My TED Talk, if anything, if I hope it serves for anything, it's to let you know you're valuable. You're valuable beyond the pay gap. You're valuable beyond political attacks. You are so valuable. And you, my fellow Latina survival mathematicians, you, I, we are the future, aunque les guste o no. Thank you.